Hi, in this video, I'll be walking you through the new functionalities introduced in Think7 QMS version 1.04 release. We have now introduced a new feature through which you can upload a PDF or JPEG drawing file and balloon it. You can start by uploading the drawing file by clicking on this icon on the part details screen. Once the drawing is uploaded, you can create the grid lines by clicking on the grid icon present here. You can drag the first two lines to set the grid pattern and then enter the number of horizontal and vertical rows to draw the grid lines. You can double click on the drawing to create the balloon. You can move the balloon around by clicking on the blue part or rotate it by dragging the circle in the balloon. You can drag or resize the box as required to position it on the characteristic on the drawing file. After the balloon is created, you can enter the characteristic details on the right side panel present here. If the PCM is already created, you can select the characteristic and assign it to the balloon. There is also a help button available here which can be used to refer the instructions for ballooning the drawing. We have now introduced complete traceability within QMS which will help you keep a track from your raw material issue to your dispatches and vice versa. Whenever a work order is created, a raw material issue task will be created for the stores role where the quantity of raw materials for each work order can be entered. On the raw material issue task, you can select the raw material, incoming inspection batch, and quantity of raw material issued. The color indicator on the top right corner here will indicate if the correct quantity of raw material is issued. Once the quantities are entered, you can click on Issue to save the quantities. If the issue is completed, you can click on Issue and Complete to complete the task. Once the work order is completed, you can trigger the final inspection either from production or stores role. While creating the final inspection, you can select the work order and enter the quantity here. And the final inspection task will be triggered to the relevant ATM. Once the final inspection is completed, the stores role can create a dispatch by selecting the quantities from one or more final inspections. Once the task is saved, the dispatch report can be downloaded by navigating to completed tasks and clicking on the download links available here. We have now introduced a new feature through which you can enter the rejected quantities on the final inspection check sheets. If you have a 100% inspection current process control on any of the characteristic in final inspection, you will get an option to enter the rejected quantity here. Whenever there is a quantity entered here and the check sheet is approved, a rejection analysis task will be triggered immediately. In this release, we have now introduced a new feature which will auto-close the work orders based on certain parameters. These parameters are listed in detail in the release notes for version 1.04 release present on our website. We have also provided a reopen button on the closed work orders which can be used to reopen the work orders. From this release onwards, the ATMs for incoming and final inspection can be separated. On the ATM master screen, you can now create separate ATMs for incoming and final inspections. For companies with more than one plant, you can either create ATMs for incoming and final inspection at each plant level, or if you want to combine multiple plants and have a common store, it can be done by setting up a store under the Store Details tab. Here, you can define a store and link it to multiple plants. A default ATM will be created and linked to this store. Also, the existing ATMs for incoming and final inspections for each plant linked to the store will be removed. In this release, the Manage Workflow tab has been moved from Production Engineer role to Super User role. Thank you for watching. For further assistance, please feel free to drop us an email at help@think7.in.